Have you ever woken up and asked, is this all there is? This feeling often strikes people in their mid-22nd or early 32nd. You have the degree. You might have that first job. But still, you feel an immense pressure to find something more. It seems like a crisis of direction. It's as disorienting as a vast ocean without a compass. It's the quarter-life crisis. Your friends seem to be ahead of you. You see their seemingly perfect lives on social media. You know, we all know that feeling, right? Hello, this is Clara Sterling. You're listening to Light Your Life. I want you to know that you are not alone in this feeling. The feeling of being stuck is a profoundly common human experience. What if I told you that even the people you admire have felt this way? The idea that everyone is on a clear, linear path is a myth. It is very far from the truth. This feeling is amplified by the curated, perfect lives we see online. Not only that, but we are led to believe that success is a straight line. If you work hard, you'll reach a beautiful destination. All the anxieties and uncertainties will just disappear there. But that's a fairy tale we tell ourselves. Honestly, you may not believe this, but life is a series of beautiful twists and turns. You will stumble. Then you must get back up. That's where real, meaningful growth happens. We have been conditioned to fear failure. We see it as a finality, a judgment on our worth. On the contrary, failure is often the most potent fuel for true self-discovery and personal growth. Life is a journey without a map. Now, imagine this with me for a moment. Picture yourself 10 years from now. You're in a beautiful house. You have a great, successful career. Although everything looks good on the outside, deep inside, you feel a quiet emptiness. You chose this path because it was the safe one. It was the one your parents approved of. It looked good on paper, but it's not the one your heart wanted. You ask yourself, what if I had taken a different turn? What if I had been brave enough to find my passion? You're successful. In addition to being financially secure, you still feel unfulfilled. The unexpected thing was that all the accomplishments didn't fill the void inside you. Now, rewind to today. The world tells you to pick a lane and stick to it. You feel pushed to make decisions that will define the next decades of your life, right? You feel the immense weight of these choices. But what if feeling lost isn't a bad sign? What if it's a gentle wake-up call from your soul? It could be a signal to build a life that is truly, authentically your own. It seems like this crisis is not a bug in the system. It's a feature of our humanity. It's a natural checkpoint where we confront our deepest values. The pressure is immense. I know. For example, you might have a good job, but it leaves you feeling drained and uninspired. On the other hand, you might have a passion, but it doesn't pay the bills just yet. What if there was a way to navigate this uncertainty with grace? A way to thrive because of it, not in spite of it? Obviously, this is not a new conversation, but it is undeniable that in our current world of endless options, the stakes feel higher. So clearly, we need a new approach. We need to see this crisis as an opportunity. It's a chance to build a life of profound purpose. And that's what we're going to dive into today. So the quarter-life crisis isn't a sign of failure. It's a necessary and even beautiful part of your journey. But why does it feel so overwhelming? What are the core arguments we need to understand? The arguments. conflicting views, and the hidden truth. Let's start with the most common viewpoint. The crisis is a product of immense social pressure. The world praises early success and achievement. We are told we are falling behind if we haven't made it by 30. This is a viewpoint that is often supported by the fact that the world moves faster now because of technology and social media. We see the highlight reels of everyone else's lives. We compare our behind-the-scenes reality to their filtered moments. It is undeniable that this comparison leads to anxiety and a feeling of inadequacy. We think we must have a certain job and a certain salary. On the contrary, there is a more nuanced perspective. This crisis is not just external. It's profoundly internal. It's a natural checkpoint in our development. In your early 22nd, you built the foundation of your adult life. You often adopted the goals and expectations of others. The quarter-life crisis is when your authentic self begins to rebel. It's your inner voice whispering, "Is this what I truly want?" At the same time, this questioning is a sign of immense courage. It takes courage to ask the hard questions. However, this can be incredibly confusing. It can feel like you're betraying your past self. That person worked so hard to get to where you are. We are taught to value consistency in our lives. We are told we must stick with our decisions. So, a desire to change everything can be terrifying. It's a conflict between two identities, the one you built and the one that is emerging. So clearly, we need to understand that this period is not about tearing down. It's about rebuilding on a stronger, more authentic foundation. Another more pragmatic viewpoint is a lack of practical life skills. We are good at climbing the academic or corporate ladder, but are we good at managing our mental and emotional health? Are we good at building deep, meaningful relationships? Are we good at identifying our own unique purpose? The unexpected thing was, we are often unprepared for real-world problems. We are taught what to think, not how to think for ourselves with wisdom and compassion. This is why a lot of people feel lost. They've been trained to follow a path that was laid out for them, not to forge their own. So, how do we reconcile these different views? The crisis is all of these things at once. It's a complex mix of social pressure and psychological stages. In short, it's a perfect storm of questioning. But a storm can also clear the air. It can reveal a new beautiful path. The key is to learn to sail through it with grace and resilience. Illustrative stories. The power of a change in direction. To truly understand this, we need to look at real people. Their stories are not tales of flawless success. They are tales of profound struggle and beautiful transformation. Story 1. Abraham Lincoln. When failure becomes greatness. We know Abraham Lincoln as a great and wise president. In his early 32nd, however, he was defined by failure. He lost an election at 23. His business ventures failed miserably. He had a crippling and overwhelming debt. Unfortunately, it should be noted that he also suffered profound personal loss. He lost his beloved fiancée. He struggled with severe, debilitating depression. He felt like a total and complete failure. His internal turmoil was immense. His path was not straight at all. He had to grapple with repeated, painful failures. He could have easily given up on his dreams. He could have accepted his life was just a series of unfortunate events. Most importantly, he chose to keep going. He used his failures as his greatest lessons. His grief became a deep source of empathy for others. The great thing is, he learned to connect with others on a human level. His quarter-life crisis was not a detour. It was the very fire that forged his remarkable character. It shows us that our struggles are not just obstacles. They are the fire that refines us into who we are meant to be. Story 2. Sarah Blakely, Creating Your Own Path. Now, let's talk about a modern icon, Sarah Blakely. She founded the company Spanx. Before that, she sold fax machines door to door. She hated the job with a passion. For 7 years, it paid the bills but offered her no fulfillment. She felt lost and without direction. While on her sales calls, she was thinking about a better way. She had an idea for women's undergarments. She had no business background to speak of. She had no connections in the industry. She had very little money saved. At the same time, she had a deep-seated frustration and a brilliant idea. Her internal conflict was real. She had the security of her job, but her passion pulled her away from that safety. It seems like she had to make a choice: live a safe, comfortable life, or take a massive risk. To be possible, her dream needed her to face a torrent of rejection. Manufacturers told her it was a terrible idea. However, her conviction was stronger than their doubt. She used her savings. She quit her job at 30. Her crisis was the catalyst for her to create her own path. Her story is a testament to the fact that you can create your own way. Story 3. The Beatles, When Change Defines the Future. Finally, let's consider the Beatles. In their 22nd, they had immense, unprecedented global success. But by 1966, they were all in a deep crisis. The constant touring was taking a severe toll on them. In general, the pressure to produce hits was suffocating. John Lennon said they were more popular than Jesus. This reflected his deep disillusionment with fame. The crisis wasn't about a lack of success. It was about a lack of artistic freedom and meaning. They felt trapped by their own creation. In this case, they made a bold and courageous decision. They stopped touring altogether. This shocked the entire world. They had to ask themselves, are we a touring band or are we artists? Thanks to that decision, they found a new purpose. They created their most iconic and artistically rich albums. Their crisis forced them to redefine themselves on their own terms. The unexpected thing was that by stepping away, they became something even greater. The Beatles' story shows that courage is sometimes about changing course, even when you're at the top. The practical guide: building your own path. We've talked about the why and we've heard the stories. Now let's get to the how. What can you do today? How do you use this crisis as a launching pad for a new beginning? First, redefine success for yourself. You've been chasing someone else's idea of it. It's time to find your own definition. Thanks to that internal questioning, you can pause, take out a pen and paper, ask yourself, what truly brings me joy? What work would you do for free? What kind of relationships fill your cup and make you feel seen? For the purpose of gaining clarity, write down your answers without judgment. The goal isn't to quit your job tomorrow. It is to understand your true north. Then focus on your health. This means both your mind and your body. Obviously, we all know exercise is important, but we often neglect it during times of stress. In short, take small, gentle steps. Go for a 15-minute walk in nature. Meditate for just 5 minutes in the morning. These are not grand gestures. They are commitments to your own well-being. It seems like we underestimate the power of small habits, but they build a resilient and peaceful mindset. A healthy body and mind are your most important tools on this journey. Next, practice conscious connection. We are social beings who need each other, but we've replaced deep connection with passive consumption of social media. In addition to self-care, nurture the relationships that truly matter. Have a difficult, honest conversation with someone you trust. Call a family member just to check in and say hello. Find a mentor who has walked a path you admire. They can offer guidance and perspective. On the other hand, don't be afraid to pull back from draining relationships. Your inner circle should be a source of strength, not stress. Finally, reframe your thinking. You may not believe it, but the voice in your head is often a harsh critic. It's filled with doubt and fear. Although this voice can be loud, you can change the narrative. Start a gratitude journal. Write down 3 things you are thankful for each day. This simple practice trains your brain to find the good in your life. Furthermore, stop seeing setbacks as failures. See them as data points, as lessons. Lincoln's defeats were not the end of his story. They were information that guided him toward his purpose. After all, that's what growth is, learning from what didn't work and trying again with more wisdom. Conclusion: the beauty of the journey. So, in the end, what is the quarter-life crisis? It's not a dead end. In general, it's a crossroads. You have a beautiful chance to choose a life that is truly yours. It is a time to stop following the map someone else gave you. You must start charting your own course. The great thing is that you're not finding a destination. You are building a new one as you go step by step. This journey is not about reaching a perfect, problem-free state. On the contrary, it's about finding the courage to face uncertainty. You must do this with purpose and with resilience. The result is a life that is rich, meaningful, and authentic. It is uniquely yours. It's not easy, but you had the strength to fight for it. Remember, the goal is not a life without crises. The goal is to have a life strong enough to withstand them. Thanks to that resilience, you will not only find your path, but you will find the strength within you to walk it with your head held high.